Good morning and welcome back, my friends, to ColeJakeTV with another exciting episode where we're going to go ahead and get into what the Bible talks about as some of the strange woes that go on after the blessedness. Recall in the last few verses of the Bible that we've read together. Remember, my friends, this is in Luke chapter 6. We got up to verse 24 the other day, reading through what the Bible labels as the Beatitudes. And after the Beatitudes, it gets into a very precarious set of verses, which are called the strange woes. And that's where we left off yesterday. So my friends, welcome back to ColeJakeTV, where each and every weekday, we come together for a weekday morning Bible study, book by book and verse by verse. We try to go through our Bible and just tackle one chapter at a time, one book at a time. And as a community of followers of Jesus Christ, we go through the Bible book by book and verse by verse. So we're going to pick up where we left off yesterday. And this is going to be in verse 24. Let's continue. Luke chapter 6, verse 24. But woe to you who are rich, for you have received your consolation. Woe to you who are full, for you shall hunger. Woe to you who laugh now, for you shall mourn and weep. And woe to you when all men speak well of you, for so did their fathers to the false prophets. What do you think this word woe means? To my friends at NCM, good morning. What do you think this word woe to you is? Well, this is an expression of regret. It's an expression of regret. It's also an expression of compassion. I don't really believe that this is a threat. The woes Jesus spoke seem just as, in some ways, paradoxical as his blessings if you sort of think about it that way. Don't they? You know, we don't normally think, oh, if I'm rich, I'm gonna experience a woe. Or if I'm laughing, or if I'm spoken well of. But woe to you who are rich. Woe to you who are full. Riches, no sense of need, continual excitement, good times. Are these a genuine obstacle to the kingdom? You know, when we read about how we come to Jesus, we won't come to Jesus normally until we know we're poor, we're hungry, and we're in need of comfort. We come to Jesus when we are in desperate need of something. And oftentimes, we will finally come to the end of our ropes and realize it's a spiritual need. I think what Jesus is trying to do is he's trying to paint a contrast, a little bit of a paradox. Jesus contrasted, in the eyes of those that are listening, the current expectations of the kingdom, which many already had, preconceived notions with the actual spiritual realities of Jesus' true kingdom. You see, Jesus' true kingdom, it's spiritually realized. And I think that many of them were looking for such a physical realization that it became such a stumbling block. Jesus oftentimes mocked the world's values. Does he not often say, my values, my ways, they're much higher than your ways? Your ways are lower than my ways. Your ways are not my ways. Are those not the words that Jesus gives to us? And then God goes on and gives us the agenda. God's agenda is a plan of love. So after you go through these woes and these paradoxical sayings of Jesus, then it's like Jesus shifts gears in verse 27 to love your enemies. Let's read those verses. Verse 27, but I say to you, who can hear, love your enemies. Do good to those who hate you. Bless those who curse you. And pray for those who spitefully use you. That's not easy to do. Love your enemies? It's an absolutely shockingly simple command. You can easily understand it. Love your enemies. 3 words. But oh, so difficult to obey. And Jesus tells us exactly how to love our enemies. He gives it to you right here, almost in bold-faced. Do good. Do good. Bless. Bless. Pray for those who spitefully use you. Pray for your enemies. My friends, Jesus recognized that we will have enemies. We will have enemies of his kingdom. We will have enemies of him. We will have enemies of his family. This plan of God's kingdom takes into account real world problems, challenges you and I face each and every day, obstacles, trials, and tribulations. Takes into account all of these world problems. But even with all of the problems that we face in this world, God says, do good. Bless. Pray. Bless those who curse you, he goes on to say. It means that we must speak well of those who speak evil and ill of us. Even in the face of adversity and defamation and curse words or what have you, what you may encounter, this is where God says, you must rise above. We cannot love our enemies as we love our nearest and dearest. We have to do it in a most unusual way because it doesn't feel natural at first. And in doing so, verse 29 picks up by talking about be willing to suffer wrong. So in a way, these are chain link fence. It's a chain link fence, one chain link connected to the next. Because when you roll right from verse 28 into verse 29, you see Jesus pointing out to him who strikes you on one cheek, offer the other also. What? And from him who takes away your cloak, do not withhold your tunic either. Really? Give to everyone who asks of you. And from him who takes away your goods, do not ask them back. Is this not an astonishing teaching that Jesus is giving? Give some thought to these few verses today and the potency of the words in which come behind them. When a person insults us, when a person strikes us, strikes you on the one cheek, Jesus says, we want to give them back plus more. We want to give them back what they gave to us plus more. So what is Jesus really saying? Patiently endure. Compassionately stand and withstand the insults. Withstand the offenses. He says, for my sake. Why? For great is your reward in heaven. Great is your reward. How do we know this? I'll leave you with this thought today. We know this great reward comes because Jesus says, and he promises, I'm not only someone that is a man of my own word, but what I say comes to pass. And he that hath done it unto the least of one of these of mine, he has done it unto me. Let that marinate in our heart today as we praise Jesus, go forth and prosper in all the work that we do, and keep Jesus first and foremost in our heart as we love our neighbors as ourselves. Thanks for joining us each and every weekday here at CJTV. I'm your messenger, GB, and we will see you next time. Have a blessed day.